Jalsu Pass, she felt pains of labor. Come on, and coming on, and desiring the bearers to put down the palki, went into a cave by the wayside, and there her son was born. Thinking it better to leave the infant to perish than run the risk of his capture by their enemies who were in pursuit, she left him in the cave and returning to the palki resumed her journey. Suspicion was, however, aroused, and on being closely questioned at Rani Chakka village grove, the Rani confessed that she had given birth to a son and left him in the cave. The Wazir and Prohit at once went back and found the young prince with a number of mice surrounding and keeping guard over him. And from this circumstance, he was named Mushan Varman. This cave is having a Suraj Pankha, that is, a sun engraved naturally over the rock. Having recovered the child, the party proceeded on their journey to Kangra. There the Rani took up her residence in the house of a Brahman, whom she made her guru, and remained 8 or 9 years under his protection, without disclosing his identity. One day, the boy happened to tread on some flour sprinkled on the floor, and the Brahmin, on seeing his footprint, recognized it to be that of a royal person, and the mother being questioned made known her relationship to the Brahmpura royal family. The Brahmin thereupon conducted her and the child to the Raja of Suket, who received them kindly and had Mushan Varman provided for and carefully educated. He grew up intelligent and brave, and received the Raja's daughter marriage, and with her as dowry a jagir in the Pargana of Pangana, that is Pangi, and other large presents. Mushan Varman was also furnished with an army, and returning to Brahmpura, he drove out the invaders and recovered his kingdoms. Till dates, the graves of Kira is known in Brahmpur area, but there is nothing on record about his return. But the killing of mice have been prohibited by him on account of the services rendered by these animals in his infancy. This custom still obtains in the Chamba royal family, and a mouse caught in the palace is never killed. He built Narsing temple as per Mr. V.C. Ore. The image of Narsimha is also of life size in dimension and is made of brass. But it appears that the alloy used for making the sculptures contains copper in a somewhat greater proportions, and thus the color of this image is different from that metal images seen at Brahmor. The figure of Narsimha is seated in the Padasana on a bench and gazing ahead with open eyes. The mouth is wide open, and the chin rests on the two frontal hands, supposedly placed over a tip of a gada. The Narasimha image was seen to be housed in a wooden temple constructed in the late 8th century. Tribhuvan Rekha, a queen of King Yugakar Varman, as per the copper plate inscription of Yugakar Varman, built a new temple for the idol in the 10th century. It is also probable that the temple built in the period of Yugakar Varman has also not survived, and the temple in which the image of Narsimha is now enshrined was constructed a few centuries later. After Mushan Varman, Hans Varman, Sar Varman, Sen Varman, and Sajan Varman rules in succession. The name of Mrityunjay Varman do not find mention in the Vanshavali, but find mention on a rock inscription at Proliragala, through which the road from Bassu leads over the range Kankhot and thence by Kankhot Pass, that is the Bor Pass of the survey map, over the Dhauladhar to the Relu in Kangra district. Raja Sahil Varman stands out as the most conspicuous personality on the long roll of the Chamba chiefs, and his name is still a household word throughout the district Chamba.
धरियो जाने हाथड़ू मांडे धरियो जाने पैरा जो लगी जांदा पाड़ा माया पैरा जो लगदा पाड़ा माया जीवे राजा साहिल वर्मा अटल राज तेरा माया हथड़ू मांडे धरियो जाने हथड़ू मांडे धरियो जाने अकड़ी धारा बकड़ी धारा अकड़ी धारा बकड़ी धारा ऊपर डेरा तेरा माया ऊपर डेरा तेरा माया जीवे राजा साहिल वर्मा अटल राज तेरा माया हथड़ू मांडे धरियो जाने हथड़ू मांडे धरियो जाने
He seems to have risen as a general of Pratiharas, who became military governor of the mountain frontier against encroachments of Kashmir, and thereafter of the Hindu Sahis of Kabul, who, first vassal of Kashmir, soon became independent rulers of Punjab. The sack of Kanauj by Indra III Rashtrakuta resulted in a disintegration of Pratihara Empire, which incited the Kashmiris and Sahis to invade Kangra Valley. Sahil Varman succeeded in batting off this invasion and protected Kangra and Kullu. Later, he became virtually independent ruler over those very districts, suppressing some revolts of the local princelings. He introduced his Pratihara civilization and art in Chamba on the advice of Yogi Charpatnath. It was he who transferred the seat of government from Brahmpura to the new capital Champakapur in the year 930 AD on a well protected plateau above the junction of the river Sala and Ravi, from where he could easily control the passes along the Kashmir frontier, Lahore, and the Kangra Valley. Before Sahil Varman's accession of Chamba, Brahmpura was visited by 84 yogi or Mahasiddhas, who were greatly pleased with the Raja's pity and hospitality, and as he had no heir, they promised him 10 sons, and in due course 10 sons were born, and also a daughter named Champavati. Meanwhile, Sahil Varman had been engaged in extending his rule and had brought under his sway all the petty Ranas who still held the lower portion of the Ravi Valley. On this expedition, he was accompanied by Yogi Charpatnath, one of the Mahasiddha, and also by his queen Nana, and daughter named Champavati. Previous to his occupation by Sahil Varman, the plateau on which the town of Chamba stands was within the domain of a Rana, who had conveyed it in Sasan to a family of Kanwan Brahmins. Champavati, the Raja's daughter, took a great liking to the place and asked her father to found a town and make it as his capital. Sahil Varman was desirous of acceding to her wish, but all the land fit for building purposes had passed into the hands of the Brahmins, and he was unwilling to dispossess them. At length an arrangement was effected, whereby in recognition of their proprietary right, 8 chaklis, Chamba copper coins, were promised in perpetuity on the occasion of every marriage in the town. The land was then given up, and the above conditions has been observed ever since. The Raja then founded the town and named it Champa after his daughter and champak trees, which were in abundance in the area. The ancient Brahmpur kingdom was known to the Chinese of the 7th and subsequent centuries. Dr. Vogel not only find the name of the capital Polo Hi Mopulo, that is Brahmpura, mentioned in the Hyun but also in other works which describe the empire of the eastern women. Charparnath is one of the 9 major Nas, and Nas Sampradaya was the outcome of certain yogis who felt that siddhas are unable to impress the people and they are taking liquor and meat and sex created abhorrence amongst the people. Hence, the Guru Gorakshnath started from the Guru Shishya traditions, the Nas Sampradaya. The Charparnath became Guru of Raja Sahil Varman, who also became Mahasiddha Champakapa after abdicating the kingdom of Champa. The Chaturmukh Shivling of marble was established at Manimahesh Dal lake of Manimahesh Kailash during the reign of Raja Sahil Varman. The symbol of Charparnath accompanying the Manimahesh Yatra from Chamba is a old tradition from the age of Raja Sahil Varman. There is a stone image of Charparnath at Charpat Kutia, which is privately owned by a family of Shri Vaidnath who comes through Guru Shishya tradition. Presently, Mahant of the Kutia is Mr. Somnath. There is a Charparnath shrine at Lakshmanayan Temple Complex Chamba. There is a Jatra for complete 1 month every year in the month of Chaitra, that is March and April. On 20th Chaitra, the Arghi and Suhagi from Charpatnath Kutia goes to Champavati temple, and thereafter there used to be game of Khinnu at Shugan and Ghurays in the night by the devotees of Shiva, particularly Gadis. In the olden days, the Churasi compound was occupied by 84 shrines of lingas representing 84 Siddha yogis known to both Shaiva and Buddhist Tantric traditions who had visited Brahmpura. The present structures of these shrines were built by Raja Ume Singh, who ruled in the year 1748 till 1764 AD. Nawala in the whole Chamba state with the prominence of Yogi in the Nawala and the symbol of 9 with 9 persons required presence in Nawala and 9 major Nas including Charparnath correlate with each other. We may safely come to a reasonable conclusion that the presence of 84 Siddha at Chaurasi Brahmpur during the reign of Meru Varman onward to Sahil Varman and their influence over the Raja and people is evident. Nawala is a unique feature of Shaib culture of Chamba, continuing till today, which was also started at about the same time. 9 persons are must for Nawala, who are Four bande. One plays dholki, other plays nagada, and the third plays ghada and thali. And fourth is called aghe wala. One kotwal, that is the person who is assigned with the duty of security as kotwal of the nawala. One batwal, that is, one person is assigned the duty of batwal of the nawala for carrying out the orders. One chela, that is Shiva's chela. One jogi, one yajman, and a he sheep is the sacrificing animal of the nawala. There is a puja at four times in the nawala. First at about 10 p.m., second at about 12 midnight, third at about 2 a.m., and fourth at about 4 a.m. The earliest archaeological remains seen in Chamba town, which was made capital of the state in 930 AD, is the foundation of a brick temple discovered in the present Lakshmi Narayan temple complex. Some of the bricks are on display in the Bhuri Singh Museum, Chamba. The average size of these bricks are 31 into 20.5 into 5 centimeters. These are datable to the post-Gupta period, most probably to the 8th century. The technique of making white bricks bearing the design of lotus petals and a simple geometric pattern suggests that the skilled workmen had come from the outside because no other example of architecture in bricks related to the period prior to the 8th century is seen in Chamba. Chamba must have come under the control of King Meruvarman of Brahmpur. The earliest sculptures which have survived in this town is a marble or white stone image of Vishnu Chaturanana. It is under worship in a small and not very old shrine, which stands in the Lakshmi Narayan temple complex and known as Bhrudu Wale Lakshminath. This image of Vishnu Chaturanan, top on stylistic grounds, can be ascribed to the 8th century. The celebrated brass image of Vishnu Chaturanan, known as Hare Rai, is under worship in Nagara type stone temple at Chamba town. This temple is generally considered to have been built in the 11th century, but it appears somewhat late as is suggested by the style and quality of the decorative scene on it. The bronze is a superb piece of art, a well balanced composition, and perfect execution. It's three-fourths of life size in dimension and is unique as no other artistically comparable example has survived in the entire region of western Himalayas, including Kashmir. On stylistic ground, several scholars, including Dr. V.C. Ori, have ascribed it to 9th century. According to a well-known tradition in Chamba, the temple of Harirai existed in the town before Raja Sahil Varman had shifted the state capital from Brahmor to Chamba in 930 AD. The idol of Harirai that seems enshrined in some other temple, probably a wooden architecture, before the construction of the existing temple. Prince Lakshman Varman, son of Salakara Varman, according to the joint copperplate grant of Soma Varman and Asta Varman, erected the existing temple in the reign of Raja Asta Varman. Stylistically, the brass image of the Harirai follows the traditions of the Kashmir sculpture, but it also exhibits several points of difference. One sees that the manner which dhoti is shown covering the right leg of the deity, while it leaves bare the left one much above the knee, is the peculiar idiom seen in the sculpture from Kashmir. Similarly, the back face, which according to texts represents Kapila, in spite of some grotesque features, shows competence of the artist to handle skillfully such works in a pleasing manner, similar to Kashmir sculpture. An interesting and pathetic legend has come down to us in connections with settlement of the new capital. There was no good and convenient water supply, and the Raja was anxious to meet this need. He therefore had a watercourse made from the Sarotha stream round the shoulder of the Shamdar hill behind the town. For some reason, the water refused to enter the channel prepared for it, and in accordance with the superstitious notions of the time, this was ascribed to supernatural causes. The spirit of the stream must be propitiated, and the Brahmins, on being consulted, replied that the victim must be either the Rani or her son. Another tradition runs that the Rani herself had a dream in which she was directed to offer up Raja or her son or herself, whereupon the Rani pleaded to be accepted. The Raja was unwilling to accede to her wish and wanted to offer someone else, but she insisted that if there must be a sacrifice, she should be the victim. Her wishes prevailed, and accompanied by her maidens and bareheaded. As for Sati, she was carried up the hills to the spot Maluna near the village Balota, where the watercourse leaves the main stream. There a grave was dug and she was buried alive. The legend goes on to say that when the grave was filled in, the water began to flow and has ever since flowed abundantly. Yugakar, the son and successor of Sahil Varman, mentions his mother's name Nana in the only copper plate of his reign which has been found. It was Nana Devi and she was the Rani referred to. In memory of her devotion, a small shrine was afterwards erected by her husband on the spot where she is said to have sat down to rest. A mela was appointed to be held every year from the 15th of Chat to 1st of Paisak. It is called the Suhi Mela and is attended only by women and children of all castes who in their gayest attire climb the steps to the shrine and there sing the Rani's praises and present their floral offerings. They were entertained at the Raja's expenses on this occasion during the straight time. The steps are not ancient, having been constructed by Rani Sarda, queen of Raja Ajit Singh, who ruled between 1794 to 1808 AD. There cannot be any doubt that the legend is founded on fact. Such sacrifice was quite in keeping with the spirit of the times, and it is noteworthy that the Mela has been held from time immemorial, affording strong proof of the truth of the story as related. It is significant, too, that although a death in the royal family during any other Mela necessitates its immediate suspension, this does not apply in the case of the Sui Mela, which is never interrupted. Another legend has also been handed down by tradition in connection with the founding of the Champavati or Chamesini temple, probably the first erected by Sahil Varman in Chamba. His daughter Champavati was of a religious disposition. Suspicion was instilled into her father's mind, and he followed her on one occasion with a drawn sword in his hand, only however to find that the house was empty. As he entered, a voice came from the stillness, upbraiding him for his suspicions and telling him that his child had been taken from him as punishment. His father commanded to erect a temple to her on the spot where he stood to atone for his sin and avert calamity from his house. The temple was accordingly built and named after his daughter, who is there worshipped as a goddess. It is regarded as the family temple of the Chamba Rajas, and a mela has been held in connection with it from time immemorial from 1st to 21st of Baisakh. It was customary for the ruling chief to make a daily visit during the mela to certain temples in fixed rotation, always starting from and returning to that of Champavati. But this custom has now fallen more or less into disuse. Sahil Varman also erected several other temples in Chamba, which are still in existence. The earliest of these are believed to have been in Chandragupta and Kameshwara temples, built for two idols of Shiva, which the Raja took out of the Sal stream near its junction with the Ravi. This he did while bathing and under the guidance of Yogi Charpatnath. Of the other temples erected by Sahil Varman, the principal one is that of Lakshmi Narayana, and a marble image of Vishnu Chaturanghan, bigger than life size in dimensions, is under worship in it. According to the accounts in the Vanshavali of the Rajas of Chamba, Yugakar Varman, the son and successor of Raja Sahil Varman, brought block of marble for this image from Vindhya mountains. This was after an unsuccessful effort by nine sons of the Raja who were killed by the robbers while on way back to Chamba with a block of marble. The story also informs that in the first instance the nine sons of Sahil Varman were successful in bringing a block of marble, but on the cutting of the slab it was found to contain a frog, and thus it was considered unsuitable for making the idol. This slab was therefore used for making smaller images. One of them is said to be the Trimukha or Triambakeshwar Mahadev, a Shivlinga with three faces, which is under worship in a temple standing in the compound of Lakshmi Narayan temple complex. The physiognomy of the face of this image is different from the face of figure of Lakshmi Narayana, and the necklace is also treated in a different manner. These two works of Lakshmi Narayana and Triambakeshwar Mahadev do not appear to be contemporary. The Triambakeshwar Mahadev appears stylistically to belong to early 10th century, but the image of Lakshmi Narayan appears to be somewhat later, or if it's work of the same period, it might have been made at some other center. The main figure shows Kashmir influence to a greater extent, while the modeling of the small figures, those of Gada Devi and Chabra Purusha, shown at the sides, follow the traits of North Indian style. The image of Lakshmi Narayana does not seem to belong to an early stage when the North Indian style of Pratiharya period had started influencing the sculptures in Chamba. In such a large sized freestanding sculpture, it is not possible to show the Prava Chakra in the usual manner as seen in the North India works. Moreover, physiognomy of the side figures Gada Devi and Chakra Purusha and their attenuated curved postures appear to follow the traits in vogue in later period in North India. This image remains garmented and profusely ornamented and only a small part of the halo and the crown can be seen. This is also stated that the brass image of Garuda at Chamba was brought by the Chamba force from Balawar, Basoli state. The image of Garuda is not contemporary to the image of Lakshmi Narayana. The Garuda image seems to belong to the period mid 10th to mid 11th century. The Lakshminarayan temple once had a wooden mandapa which was renewed by Pratap Singh Varman in 1582 and replaced by an stone structure in the late 19th century by Pandit Durgu and Gyana, barber to the king, undertook the repairs in 1579. Sahil Varman must also have erected the original palace at Chamba town and it doubtless occupied the same site as the present building. In all matters connected with the settlement of the new capital, the Raja was guided by the advice of the Yogi Charpatnath, and in recognition of this, a shrine was afterward erected to him near the Lakshminarayan temple where puja is done morning and evening.
At Brahmor, Raja Sahil Varman rebuilt Meruvarman's Shiva temple as the Manimahesha. All these new stone temples are of the heavy Shikhara type of the high Pratihara period, decorated only by means of wall ASEAN reduplicated miniature Shikhara shrines in relievo and very few rather clumsy reliefs. But they are the mightiest and most numerous group of medieval temples in the whole Himalaya. Temples of Chamunda in the town is also ascribed to the period of Sahil Varman. Sahil Varman is also said to have built the Chandrasekhar temple at Saho for an linga found in the Sal stream near that place. But this is incorrect. The sculpture seen at Saho had been made in the style which were in vogue in Chamba. A discussion of this sculpture here is thus appropriate to our knowledge of Chamba sculpture belonging to later period seen in Chamba town. The earliest of surviving sculpture of Saho is of the second half of the ninth century, which appears in the scheme of architecture of the temple dedicated to god Chandrasekhara. The erection of this temple is mentioned in Srahan Prasastati. This Srahan Prasasti is finely engraved on a stone tablet, and this Srahan Prasasti we have found in Bhuri Singh Museum. Rana Satyaki built it in the memory of his beautiful wife named Soma Prabha. The recorded consists of 22 stanzas of very elegant Sanskrit poetry. The epigraph is not dated, but on paleographic grounds it is datable to the ninth century and the suggested period agrees with the style of the sculpture seen in the temple. On our visit to Shiva temple at Srahan, it do not match with the construction of this temple. And now it sports the version that the Chandrasekhar temple must have been built by the Rana Satyaki only. Further, the construction of the Shiva temple at Rajnagar is almost in the similar pattern in stone, and it seems in all probabilities prior to Raja Sahil Varman. Raja Sahil Varman did not spend the last years of his life in Chamba, and this also confirms the story of his becoming one of the Mahasiddha Champakpa.